Hey, everybody. Welcome to Friendship Frequency. I'm Tab.
And I'm Aaron.
This is a podcast where we talk about our everyday struggles, what has worked for us in keeping our mindset straight. We get real, we get vulnerable, and we talk about the hard stuff. We invite you on this journey with us. Hopefully, we bring some value to your life, and we look forward to having you with us.
Most
Tonight,
definitely.
y'all. It's gonna be a doozy, Aaron. It's gonna be a
Uh,
doozy.
I'm fearing it already.
No pun
Gonna.
intended. So tonight's episode is going to be based around fear. Bum bum bum. Just kidding. The fear of, I mean, that applies to so many different things. Like there could be fears, mindset, fear of decision making, fear of rejection. I mean, just about anything you could possibly think of, there's
the,
some
li-
sort
the,
of,
the list can be infinium.
yeah, serious. Listen, when we were doing research for this, we looked up fear and there was like, dear God. So we're going to touch on the ones that apply to us personally, and hopefully, we're not alone in that, and you guys can get something from it. Go ahead and kick us off, Aaron. Let's get into it.
You sure you're ready for this?
I mean, yeah, as ready as I'm ever going to be. Let's do it.
Yeah.
First,
Or
let's
maybe,
let's do this. What are fear mottos? This is what Aaron and I discovered about each other. What does fear stand for to you, Aaron? Like the actual letters, FEAR.
face everything and recover.
And
And
what does it stand for me? For me, it stands for fuck everything and run.
I was
Oh,
once there. I was once there too. It's all a
no.
process. It's a journey, right?
It is. It is. So if you are that person that is more on the, yeah, I'm chucking deuces, I'm out, you're not alone. We'll go through it together. So just know that.
Right. So, what do you think is differentiates between rational and irrational?
So irrational would be like something, I think, maybe out of our control is where I kind of go with that. Like fear of death. We know we're going to die. Um, Fear of something that you cannot control. Or I have a tendency, for me, I instantly go to the worst case scenario. And a lot of times, listen, I might be a little on the dramatic side. So my fears are way trumped up or way irrational in my mind than what's actually going to occur in reality.
Right.
So, and then like a rational fear, I think would be, you know, fear of
Your kid
heights.
dying. Yeah.
Yeah, or your kid dying, or, fear of running out of money. Like if you're not budgeting correctly. Not that I feel a little guilty, but I'm just saying, putting my hand up there. Stuff like that. Like something that could actually happen to you in a real life situation. Um and I say that too. It's funny that you bring that up. In scary movies, like I hate scary movies. I'm not a scary movie person, especially ones that could happen to you like in real life, like Final Destination, y'all. A log truck, I can't do it. Can't do it. I will literally go get in the other lane. Like, so to me, that's irrational versus rational. For you, what would it be for you? Like, I'm curious to
I
know.
think for me, irrational is typically in my head, stuff that I make up in my head or I tell
Mm,
myself um,
okay.
that's not that's not reality. Rational would be stuff that, dying alone, drowning. Like I have a big fear of heights, but for me, my thing is to face those fears. So I do plan on jumping out of an airplane. So that's how I combat that fear, is to face my fears.
If
So
y'all could have seen the eye roll that I just had right now.
oh, they saw
And
it.
here's the thing.
Watch the
Aaron and I
YouTube channel.
Aaron and I do a lot of these adventures together and face a lot of this stuff together through our community and various things that we do. And when he says, "Yeah, I plan on jumping out of an airplane," I instantly am like, "Oh my God, why do we need to jump out of a whole ass perfectly good airplane?"
Right.
Like, oh, that gave me anxiety for real.
Right. Yeah, I mean, it's stuff like that. It's like stuff that I can control. Um, it would be the rational, I
Yeah,
guess. The irrational would be the ones that are, I just tell myself, that are in my head, that they're not real. Like, that nobody likes me, blah blah blah, whatever.
yeah, I agree. I mean, I think that's a pretty standard irrational versus rational. Yeah.
Hmm.
So, how would you explain fear? Like what is it supposed to do for us? Because there is a physiological reason why we experience fear and why we have that, go through those emotions, and there's like a chemical, physiological change that happens for you. What what do you think that that's about?
Just totally lost the question there. Say that one more time.
So how would, like, there's something that physically happens inside of our body when we are faced with a fear. So what is it that happens for us, and what is the purpose? That's a better, there we go. That's a better way
Okay,
to put
there we
it.
go.
What is the purpose of
I
fear?
meant purpose could be a protector.
Hmm.
It could be a motivator, like, such as, you may fear doing something illegal, so that's,
Criminal.
criminal, right?
Aaron
Uh,
is a criminal. Not really. Oh my God, in case somebody official is listening.
right. Uh, you know, Fear of doing things that are illegal, or it as a protection,
Hmm.
but you can have, fear could be a great motivator too.
True.
Like, you're overweight, your doctor tells you you're going to die if you don't lose weight or if you don't quit smoking. So there is that could be a rational fear.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, that would be my take on it.
Right on. That makes, yeah. I mean, I agree. For me, the purpose of fear, and shout out to JM3, Joseph McClendon III, if he
Yep.
gets his hands on this. Hey boy, how you
Right.
doing?
If you haven't heard
Um,
Joseph McClendon, go check him out.
for real. Life changing, y'all.
Yep.
He taught us that fear, it initiates and activates that fight or flight response in your body. We feel fear, and the purpose of fear is to protect you in a dangerous situation. Back millions of years ago, when saber-toothed tigers were chasing people, fear kicked in and they knew to run. I hope they ran. I hope they didn't stay and fight, because Lord God. Um, so their fight or flight response. Even now, as individuals, we have our own fight or flight responses. And some people's, it's you are triggered to fight and stand your ground and take care of yourself or your family or whatever the case may be. And some are triggered to run. So it's just getting yourself out of that dangerous, what you perceive to be a dangerous situation. The same exact thing happens to a person physiologically and emotionally with mental. Your body doesn't know the difference between what's reality and what's not when you are feeling these things. So rational versus irrational, fight or flight response, same thing, it kicks in. So if someone tells you I have a true deep fear of, I'm not a fan of bugs. Let's be real. Anything that can hop and like jump on you, not having it, not having it, not for me. But it's not so deep seated that, I freak out and die. Now, I have seen people do that, but it's the same emotional response as if, you know, someone's putting a gun to your head and the fear is just as strong as that fear of rejection, that fear of making that decision, that fear of leaving that job that you hate. It is exactly the same physiological response. So that is the purpose of fear, but it is all about the story that you tell yourself surrounding that situation, I think
Right.
is the difference.
Is that story real?
Exactly. Exactly. I literally have to ask myself that because I will create a whole situation in my head
Right.
long before I have already got it figured out. I know what they're going to say, how the other person's going to respond. This is how I'm going to respond. And it happens nothing like that ever. Don't laugh at me,
Right.
Aaron.
I'm just agreeing. Like in our mutual business that we have, that fear of talking to people, that's, I mean, I tell people all the time, it's just like face your fears, and what's the worst
Yeah.
that can happen?
I mean, I've come a long way. I'll say that for sure. And
That you
it's
have.
it's that fear of rejection. It's that fear of being a burden. Like that is still to this day one that I have a really hard time with, is that I don't ever want to be a burden on someone else. And so I struggle in asking for help, finding a sponsor. Just that whole thought of having to ask for help. Oh, y'all. It like makes me short of breath because that's the anxiety. That's the fear that I have around it in the story that I have told myself for so many years. So, in order to break that pattern and overcome that fear, son of a bitch, I'm talking myself into it right now.
So
God.
uh, now that you're saying that, so tell me what differentiates or some similarities between fear and anxiety, because
Um,
they can go hand in hand,
yeah,
or
I was just gonna say, for me, I feel like they're almost one and the same. Um, I can let my anxiety get so out of control that I like just it's like gut gripping, like no sleep, constant obsessive thoughts about it. Like if I don't reel that in and get a hold of it pretty quick and like either refocus my attention on something else or somehow pull myself out of it, like I will sit and spin and go in circles and fight a whole battle in my head that probably will never happen in real life.
so what are some techniques that you use to combat that?
Um, Definitely my recovery. A lot of people kind of, not necessarily a lot of people, I should say, I've heard some people kind of poo poo the little slogans that we have. Um, and for me, I love them because they're quick and easy and they kind of just recenter me. So definitely my recovery. Music. You know this about me. A lot of people don't know this about me. If I have headphones on and I'm around a large group of people, it is probably because my anxiety is on level 1,000. And I listen to one track in a loop, and it is a steel jazz guitar, and it just plays over and over. And I do that in airports. I do that when I just am overwhelmed. So that's something I do. The music, recovery, um, run. Listen, nobody laugh. I know I don't look like a runner. But running for me was a huge, like, because I have to focus on my breathing and I have to focus on how my feet are landing because I'm not a great runner and I don't have that physiology of a runner. I injured my Achilles, so I have to really pay attention how my feet are landing, and that takes my mind out of it. I think working out in general does that for people. Um
I was the first one to like second guess you when you told me you were going to become a runner.
I
I
know.
was like, what? But you did it.
Yeah, I'm proud
And
of that today
and
too.
then it made me want to run too.
Yep.
Maybe we should get back into that.
We should. And here's the thing. I literally was thinking on my Facebook memories today, I flew to Atlanta today last year. Well,
Wow.
Atlanta is when I found out that, remember, I sent you the picture. Oh my God, my ankle's going to explode.
Yeah. Right.
So it was this time last year that I injured my Achilles. And
Mm.
yeah, I absolutely think we should. I love it. It's hard. It sucks. Don't get me wrong. My body, it sucks every second, but it's good for me mentally because it clears the anxiety. So, for you, what are some that you do when you are faced with the start over? What are your fears, Aaron? I feel like I've divulged quite a bit of information. What are your fears,
I've
sir?
said a lot too.
No.
Well,
Mm-mm.
I said, you know, fear of jumping out of a plane, which I'm going to do. Fear of dying alone. I've been single for 15, 20 years. I'm not getting any younger, but I
Like a
know
spring chicken, buddy.
right, 48 years old, but um, that's changed here in the last probably month or so. So,
Whoop, whoop.
right. Fear of rejection, like probably sometimes I have fears in social situations.
Mm.
Um, I'm I'm not a huge talker, as you probably all could tell from this podcast. We know who the talker is. Um,
Look at him calling me loud again, y'all.
but
Veto Aaron.
like the anxiety comes from not knowing what to say or carrying on a conversation. Like there's some specific things that I'm like really passionate about, and you can't get me to shut up about it. And I could talk about it all day. Um, but you know, fear of drowning, that would be a
Really?
horrible.
I didn't know that about you, the fear of
Yeah,
drought.
yeah,
I feel like we've been in the water a lot too, and you've never
right.
told me that.
I mean,
That's crazy.
I don't mind water. I just have a fear of drowning. Like it subconsciously is like that would be a horrible way to go.
I mean, I'm not doubt. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
Mm-mm. I want to be
and I
asleep.
yeah, along with the jumping out of a plane thing, that would be more so with fear of heights.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been in construction and been on 40, up 40 feet in the air, and the scaffolding and the ladders are bouncing. And whenever I don't have stable ground under me, I just don't like that too well. So it's like I lost internet connection there for a second. But,
What about fear, like mindset fears?
um,
Get to the good stuff.
like the last couple of years, I've been in a pretty good mindset, health wise,
Yeah.
and um,
Can we
if
just
it,
celebrate that for a minute? Can we just
right,
talk about that for a second? Think about where we started,
right,
like, and where we are now. Like, it is night and day difference, honestly.
yeah,
And we have a lot to be grateful for and a lot to be proud of. Okay, carry on. I was just having our
carry
moment.
on. Right. One of these days, I'll put a before picture up,
Oh, dude.
right? But with the mindset, like I fear reverting back to
Yes.
um, my old ways of negative self-talk. Um, that I'm not worthy, I'm not worth it. Like I had
Yep.
this. I was at the beach a couple weekends ago, and I did this video and I put a question out there on social media of like, because I was in a good place for 2 years and then mindset wise, I fell out of it. And then so my decision making on eating healthy kind of was lacking and I was gaining some weight. I've
Yeah.
noticed throughout my life that when things are going good in my life, I tend to self sabotage.
Yes.
And isn't
God, me
that,
too.
and you guys need to stay tuned because that's next week's
Oh,
episode.
y'all.
Self sabotage. So
That
with a good
one's
friend of
gonna be
ours,
fire. That one's
right?
gonna be fire, y'all.
Yeah, we
If listen,
that'll be our first guest speaker next week. So
yep,
better
first
stay
guest
tuned.
speaker, and he spits straight fire.
We
So
do.
bring your listening ears, your note pens, your pads, all the things. Like it's gonna
Right.
be fan freaking tastic, y'all. I'm pumped. So I think another fear for me too is not living up to my potential. Not like that my goal is to speak to millions of people
Mm-hmm.
on a stage and to do this full time. And it genuinely hurts my heart and scares me to think that it may not happen. But then like I catch myself in that thought and I'm like, dude, but what if it does? Like,
Right.
are you going to be ready when it does? Like, so yeah. And the fear of reverting back. Oh, that's so good.
Yeah. And
That's
I would say too, like fear of like being an imposter.
mm,
Like a lot of people, I do a lot of inspirational quotes and stuff like that on social media, which kind of helps me
mm-hmm.
stay in the right mindset. And I get a lot of feedback from people that follow me about how I
Yeah,
inspire them and help them out. And when we all have those days where we're not in that right mindset. So sometimes
right.
those fears creep in about being an imposter, and I think everybody goes through it.
Yeah, I agree. Especially when you are having a certain level of success. I think but that's one of the hurdles, right, of success.
Yeah.
Like a lot of people have a fear of success and don't even realize they have that fear of success.
Mm-hmm.
That is one of the hurdles is dealing with the imposter syndrome.
Yeah.
Um, and realizing and accepting like you have to accept the fact that you are where you are and have done the work to get to where you are and you deserve every second of what is going good in your life, and that's a battle. That's a self-worth issue 100%.
Right.
So
All about that Jamie Lee Curtis stuff right there, right?
shout out
Jamie Lee
Jamie Lee.
Curtis. Yeah.
Shout out Jamie, in case you want to come on, girl.
Right.
What about I'm looking at our notes over here. Let's see. You talked about sabotage. I mean, there's so many, you guys. There's so many. Oh, here's a
I'm,
good one for me. Like fear of failure in parenting.
I was just gonna say
Listen,
that.
yeah. If you're a mom or a dad, I mean, parent. If you're a parent, this is something you literally live with on a daily basis. How bad am I going to screw my kids up today? And I I've made a lot of mistakes with my kids. Let me not sit here and pretend that I have not. My oldest got the unhealed version of me, and you know, she carries so many of my traits and looks identical to me and everything. Thank God she is the person that she is and has done her own self work to heal, and I've done the work that I've done to heal. And but yeah, fear of parenting. Are you kidding? Like at that point, you're responsible for a whole nother human being life. Like you're going to mess up. Trust me on that. My two oldest are now grown and out of the house, and I still have one at home, but you're going to mess up and it's going to be okay. And your kids are going to forgive you as long as you fight to make yourself better and make them better in the process.
Mhm.
Listen, my kids are part of the reason why I do this and why it's so important to me. And I've had to make a lot of apologies and a lot of, explanations to my kids because they deserve that. But I am super proud and super grateful of the humans that they are today because they are good, good kids and they are good, good human beings. So if you're a parent and you feel like you're screwing up every single day, you, yeah, you probably are. And it's okay. It is okay.
Just try
There
to
will
do
be,
better, right?
yeah, just do better. Give yourself grace. If you need to walk out of the room for 5 minutes, do you. And honest to God, y'all, the best thing you can do as a parent is take care of yourself first. That would literally help in so many situations. And I did not realize that until my kids got a little older and I started taking care of myself.
Hmm.
I was able to be the parent that they deserved once I started doing that. So, yeah, moms especially, we carry the world.
Oh,
And those babies we put on top of us, we would go through hell and high water, but you gotta take care of you first. So I could talk all night about that. Next. um
so what do you think the impact of fear is for you?
Fear has definitely held me back in more situations than I care to admit. Fears held me back even in my own marriage, with my kids, with several relationships, with work. I mean, just any facet of life, fear has some impact in there for me. And I think until I started doing this, until we started doing the self, and I don't mean this as in the podcast,
Yeah.
but like the self development and the healing and the working through all my stuff, like all the
Mhm.
dark stuff, I didn't even realize it was fear. Like I thought that that was just normal. I thought that that's just how you were supposed to be. And until we got in this environment and around people that breathe life into you, and the community of people that we have, and the speakers that we've heard and things like that, like I didn't even know that like that it was possible. You grow up in an environment where you just survive to the next day.
Coping
You don't,
mechanism.
yeah, coping. Exactly. You just have to survive to the next day. You don't think about the future. You don't have big dreams and goals. You're literally thinking about how you're going to get through today into tomorrow. So, having the ability to do that now and work on myself and things like that, like I realize now, looking back, how much fear kept me from, I could have had this self development stuff down 25 years ago if I wasn't such a big chicken. Like, it was just fear. I was terrified of unpacking that box that I had put up on a shelf in my mind and packed away and didn't do anything. Don't want to touch it. I could have been done with this and been living my best life in the Maldives somewhere by now. So,
Thieves.
yeah, shout out Maldives in
Love
case you want to sponsor a trip. I'm just saying.
it.
What about for you? How has it impacted you? Negative or positive?
Well, I would say most of my life it's impacted me negatively
Yeah.
because I lived in fear, whether it would be fear of change, like
Dude, that's another huge one right there.
yeah, like I don't like changing jobs. Like
Oh,
there's a whole nother set of fear behind that one.
yeah.
Um, fears held me back in my life from doing anything, pursuing anything. Growing up having abusive parents, that that puts a mindset into you early on that if you don't find a way to deal with that, then it's going to take you down even into adulthood.
Mm,
And it did for me. I mean, I'm 48 years old and I've been doing, the personal development stuff for, I mean, at least this form of it for like 2 years. I mean, I definitely made a lot of progress in my recovery program,
yeah.
through getting sober. Um, and basically realizing that I was the root of all my problems. That it had nothing to do with the way I was raised. It was strictly me. I'm an adult, I have the ability to change that. On the betterment side of fear, my favorite saying is everything you've ever wanted is on the other side of fear, right?
Y'all, every
Uh,
time Aaron says that to like a group of us, you feel like you can run through a damn wall. Like that's fire right there.
right? And I've lived by that since I've heard it. And they say that if you say somebody else's quote 3 times, then it's yours now. So
Oh,
I've,
perfect.
I've,
See?
I've probably said it like a million times. But it's just crazy, like how much our mind
Yeah,
can control us if we allow it. Like
yeah,
the truth we tell ourselves isn't always true. The stuff we
yeah.
tell us in our head, don't make a mountain out of a molehill,
Yep.
you know. So I mean,
Go ahead.
I lost
You just
it.
what?
I lost it.
I think you have to remember the stories that you're telling yourself in your mind are coming from a scared person already. So if you're someone that is trying to overcome a fear, why would you listen to the scared person? Like I've had to have these conversations with myself, y'all. Listen, Aaron and I are not experts on anything.
No,
This is literally the dialogue that Aaron and I would have with each other about fear, about you're telling yourself a story in your mind that's not even true. You've already answered for someone else that you probably haven't even had a first conversation with. So you have to really check yourself in those stories that you're telling yourself because they're 99% of the time they are not true. And what is the worst thing that's going to happen? Like honestly, I have to
right.
have that conversation too quite often. Like there's so many things that each one of us are capable of and so many we each have a purpose, but we miss it because we're hiding behind fear. So I
Like
just
fear of stopping something or starting something.
yeah,
Like you're never gonna know unless you do it. And I don't think one person can grow unless they fail. So the worst thing you could
that
do is
part,
fail, right?
that part right there. You only grow in your failures.
That's right.
Yeah, it's great to have successes. Yes, let's celebrate. Woo! I'm the biggest fan. Listen, I'll be your biggest fan, biggest cheerleader. But you learn more and grow more in your failures than you do in your successes. And it took a long time for me to understand that. Like, even at and for those of you that don't know, like, I have a high level executive position. I'm not going to shout them out, whatever. Um, but I work in a high level and it's a male dominant industry. And here I am, loudmouth, black sheep of the company. Like, if you don't get out of your own way, you will never get out of your own way. And sometimes the failures are more important and more life changing than the successes. So just do it.
That's right.
Y'all, Nike gets paid for a reason.
That's
Just
right.
do it. And it's not do it, it's just get off your butt and do it. Get out of your head and do it. Aaron tells me all the time, there's crazy people that live in my head. Get out of there. Literally,
Don't,
get out of there.
don't let them rent free in your head or live in your head for free.
This is just such a huge topic. Like, I mean, literally, we could go on and on and on about this. I was listening to a podcast with Mel Robbins and Jamie Kern Lima. And Mel Robbins is the one that came up with the 5 4 3 2 1 rule. And she was talking about how that's how she pulled herself out of the fear and depression and all the things that she was going through, is that you would start from 5 and you have to count backwards because that does something physiologically in your brain.
Hmm.
So she uses the 5 4. Like, her biggest thing at that time was she had depression really bad and didn't want to get out of bed. So she would hit the snooze button, hit the snooze button, hit the snooze button. And then, of course, that leads to the rest of the day. If you're a mom with kids, you know, if you are late in the morning getting up, that sets the whole tone for the rest of the day. So she would set an alarm and then 5 4 3 2 1, get up and go, whether she wanted to or not. And that's how she started creating the habits and breaking that cycle of fear and depression and everything else in her mind. If you guys haven't listened to it, she's a phenomenal speaker anyway, because she's very real and authentic. I love her. Shout out Mel Robbins. Hey girl. But yeah, listening to that podcast, that's when I kind of was like, wow,
I'll
fear
have to
is.
check. I'll have to check that out. I haven't heard that 5 4 3 2 1 rule.
Oh, never? So
I've never
five
heard it.
seconds, you have 5 seconds between your unconscious and conscious brain takes over. Okay? So when you have to get up and do something, okay, I need to go work out. 5 4 3 2 1, get up and go. If you think any longer than that, then the negative thoughts take over. The negative, oh, but I got to do this, and
All right.
oh, I'm so
I'm,
tired.
I'm too
So
tired.
exactly, 5 4 3 2 1, get your ass up and move.
I like that.
So, yeah, if you haven't listened to it, go listen to it.
I
It's
will do that.
yeah, it's awesome. So it just, y'all, we're people. We're meant to, we have purpose, and everybody has a purpose that most of us will never even see because we can't get out of our own way. Mine and Aaron's goal is to, one, get out of our own damn way and just keep working through it and, be the best versions of ourselves that we can be. But I encourage you guys listening to maybe spend some time with yourself and kind of really evaluate what it is you're truly scared of. And is it real? Is it a rational fear? Or is it a story you've made up and told yourself? Reach out. I'll tell you flat out what I think.
Right.
So,
She will too. So will
eh,
I.
I was about to say, like, sir, hello, kettle.
Right. Yeah. So along those lines of the 5 4 3 2 1 rule,
Mm.
what are some techniques that you use to combat fear?
I just, I have the conversations with myself, literally. Um, I've even made a pros and cons list before. For me, I have to reason and convince myself almost. It's either one extreme or the other. I have to reason and convince myself, or I'm just like, fuck it, and balls to the wall. And then balls to the wall is usually the better result, in all honesty. This, we went balls to the wall. Best thing we've ever done.
Right.
Best thing we've ever done. The last two, probably, I'll say the last month, I've pretty much been balls to the wall. Like, I came out of that dark season in my life and kind of came out with a new mindset of what is the worst thing that's going to happen? I'm done playing small for people. And so in the last month, it's been a damn good month, y'all. Like, has everything went my way? No.
Mhm.
Have I not had days where it was just rough? Yesterday was a rough damn day. But I can step back long enough to know that I have the choice on how I want to react to it. I can either let it put me right back down in that dark season again, or take a few minutes, pull it together, and keep it pushing. Like, so it's been a really awesome month for me. And it's because I am just full bore, boom, balls to the wall. Who doesn't like it, doesn't like it. I wish you love, I send you love, and wish nothing but the best for you. But that's cool. We don't have to be, whatever. It's all love for me. And those that love me, I love you right back. So, what about for you?
I mean, I definitely, it all starts with mindset for me.
Yeah.
I can easily revert back into the negative fear thinking if I'm not listening to motivational podcasts. I choose to pray and meditate every
Yep.
morning when I get up. That kind of sets me on the right path for the day. I create social media content that helps keep me out of
Yep.
that space. And when I do get into the fear stuff too, I quickly realize that it's not real, and get out of that space. Like,
You're really good about telling me that too.
yeah,
And not, I shouldn't say just me. You're really good about telling the people around you that you care about and have relationships with the same thing. And not like after you, like, quickly you say it quick before we go too far down that drain.
yeah,
You recognize it pretty quick and you spit it out pretty quick. So
yeah. I mean, I
that's
think I think that's part of being mindful
mhm.
of like
I
where
agree.
I'm truly at. Like most of my life, I've not been able to identify my emotions or my feelings or what I'm
Oh,
going
Aaron,
through.
damn.
So,
Woo!
being able to identify that and put a stop to it, whether it's like yelling "stop" in my head or whatever,
My ears
to
are
get me out of
bleeding.
that
Don't.
spot.
Just kidding.
So it's just a lot of stuff. Like if it's a lot of tools in my toolbox.
Yeah.
it's not one thing.
And
I would
it's
say,
any given day. Like,
and
what is going to work is random as well. I agree 100%.
yeah, and
Like,
by no means am I perfect about it. I still have my seasons.
yeah.
I just spent probably the last 2 months in a black season, and I'm on the upswing.
Yes,
I'm glad
sir.
to be doing this podcast because I didn't want to do it.
You're
And
welcome.
my good friend said, "Let's do it." And I first thought in my mind was
Ting.
fear, failure, but I quickly turned around and said, "Nope, let's do it."
I mean, I'll get real vulnerable for a second. Our
All right.
podcast that we have next week,
Mm-hmm.
and I told you this, like, when we confirmed, and like, I instantly got just, oh my God. And not choked, well, yeah, maybe choked up. Like, I just was instantly anxious and almost to the point where I could have cried.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not a fear because I've interviewed him before.
Yeah.
Like, we've done it before. So this is how I rationalized it in my head. This is the conversation that took place. We've interviewed him before, him and his wife,
Mm-hmm.
who are both near and dear to both of us. But that's when we were like deep in it, deep. And the mindset was great, all the things. It was before we both just went through our dark seasons. He watched you go through your dark season. This is the story I'm telling myself at the other day. He watched you go through your dark season, Tabitha. I'm sure him and Danny probably had a whole conversation about it. He's going to ask you about this dark season when he comes on the show. Are you ready to listen? This is the whole conversation that takes place in my head. In a matter of about 10-15 seconds, I had this whole scenario drummed up in my mind. And when it came right down to it, I finally said it. I'm scared because I don't want to disappoint him, because I love and respect him enough to be accountable to him, and I don't want to disappoint him. Oh my God.
Oh, wow. I mean,
So,
but that's good though.
no,
I
I
mean,
know.
I think we have that. It's good you process that and even had that immediate initial fear, but you worked yourself through that.
Yeah. And now, listen, my instant remedy was like, you're just going to be as ready as you possibly can. Like, that's all what's going to happen. That's the best I can do. And it's
Right?
going to be enough, you know?
Hmm.
So,
It's gonna
yeah,
be great.
I know. I'm excited. Now, now I'm excited.
I bet
The other day,
there'll be there'll be some fear
oh,
leading
there
up to
will.
that show, but it's
There
all
will.
irrational fear. Look at that! I got some kind of a tear underneath my eye.
Calm
This is a
down.
bad thing about 4K cameras. It catches.
Don't don't cry, friend. It's okay.
Right,
And he's seen that before too. Like, why? I'm
right.
so worried about that. He's
Yeah, exactly.
no, that episode is going to be amazing because it's centered around self sabotage, and I think at some point or another, everyone has done that to themselves, whether they're aware of it or not. Could be a
Mhm.
different story. But I do think that at some point, every single person has done that. And um, that episode is going to be killer.
It's gonna be
Killer.
bomb.
Yeah.
You all
Yeah.
best better check it out.
Yep. Listen, you better subscribe. You don't want to miss that, you guys. It is
Right.
legit going to be fire. So, and he's going to, the knowledge that this man has is just, it's like, it's whether it has nothing to do with social media, blah, 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 whatever. We're talking about life, real life, be a better husband, be a better father, be a better man type, be a better human type talk, not this podcast. It's way bigger than that, you guys. So definitely don't want to miss that.
Right.
How would you say, Aaron, what is your gut reaction with fear today?
I mean, I would say to face it and go head on. Like I still initially sometimes will try to avoid that. Because it's a process. Like I said, I'm not perfect, so I still do that. Fear does still creep in sometimes, but my initial is just to run into it and head it face on because that's the only way I'm gonna. Like, what's the worst that can happen,
I'm getting there, friend. I'm getting
right?
there. I'm getting there.
Hey,
I
it's a
am. I
process.
really, I really am getting there, and I'm not as far
I'm
along
proud.
as I want to be,
I'm
but
proud of you. It's
thanks,
progress.
buddy.
It's progress, not perfection,
Damn right. Damn right.
right?
So, listen, this was a good episode. We could
It was. It was really good. We could keep going.
serious, but bedtimes and I'm old and Aaron's old. These
Yeah.
these types of things.
5 a.m. comes
So,
early.
oh God, Lord,
Right. So,
let's hope this out, buddy.
yeah, thank you all for listening. We love the support. Please be sure to subscribe, like, and follow on all platforms. We are on iTunes now. We're also on YouTube. So be
Finally,
sure, right? Be sure to like, follow, subscribe, and please share if you found some value out of this podcast.
and
So,
feedback, y'all. Feedback,
yeah,
please. feedback, comments, messages, whatever.
right?
Feedback. We want the feedback.
We love the comments, so bring them. But you can even if they're negative, give them
Yeah.
to us.
Yeah. We need them.
Who cares? Oh, right.
Be easy
All
with my
right.
heart, y'all. No, I'm just
Right.
kidding.
All right. Until next week, I'm Aaron,
I'm Tab.
and this is the friendship frequency. This is who we are, and this is what we do.
Good
Peace out. Have a great
night.
night.